I have the lightning talk that I killed for myself was bad metrics. And what I think I might do, actually you saw my bad metrics talk at Rest, is I'm going to bring out a flip chart and to fill in the times because I want to stay on. What? We have a question from Twitter, yes. Which I'm going to ignore at this instant. What I'm going to do to fill in the time is I'm going to bring out a flip chart and I'm going to write on some of the metrics. And just filling in the time, I'm going to sort of do a kind of like the host, the MC at a comedy festival, except it'll be funnier. Is I'm going to go through the bad metrics talk. It's just going to be completely disjunct and broken up, but I think it might actually work. Metrics. I am going to ask the audience, what metrics do you get measured on? What do you think they're good or bad? What are some that you have to report or that your managers ask you to report or that they put in their reports? How many test cases have been run? Number of TCs executed. All right. Number of bugs found. Which on itself isn't bad, but if we go with, I'm going to add one myself, number of bugs found per tester or per feature. I'll put those ones on there too. Any others?
Number of important bugs.
Number of important bugs.
Yes.
By whom?
Exactly.
Ah. Number of important bugs. Oh, but stop picking good ones. Number of bugs found, I'm going to say in the field. Yeah, that's a good metric. I can't make fun of that one. Go ahead. Number of failed tests. Can I put that down as a percentage? Your pass rate? All right.
Which means you have to know the number of tests yet to be executed.
No, it's just...
No, I think it was another metric.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we're pass rate in a percentage and number of tests to be executed. Can you hear me okay? Ben, can they hear me? Executed. Any others?
Open bugs.
Open bug. Number of open bugs.
Money spent.
Pardon?
Spent. Money. Amount of money spent.
Amount of money spent. On what? Dinners? The overall budget, or like on equipment?
Overall budget.
Equipment. People. Equipment.
Okay.
Hours.
Testing.
Number.
You know, report.
It's a status report.
Well, you can do hours, number of hours spent testing, but I've never had to report number of dollars spent, except on like in my budget. Hi, Nancy.
Number of test steps.
Number of test steps.
I am done.
Number of... Nancy's from Alberta. Number of test steps. Number of test steps. That's awesome. Sorry, I didn't finish writing down Griffin's one that I don't understand.
Number of hours.
Number of hours testing. All right. Number of hours testing. All right. That I can report on.
Coverage of many kinds. Code coverage, requirements coverage.
Okay. Code coverage.
Error coverage.
I guess that would include path coverage as well.
Yeah. Requirements coverage.
Requirements coverage.
Or scenario coverage. Whatever kind you can think of.
Coverage. Ajay.
Number of hours spent to reproduce the defect found in production of field.
You have to report on that?
Yeah.
Wow. That was...
High priority
Amount of time. Oh, I see. Because it's a bug raised in the field, you're okay. Okay, that makes sense. So, how long it takes you to react to a bug raised in the field? By the way, those of you coming in, this is not a lightning talk. This is a filler. In 20 seconds, the next lightning talk is going to start. I'm doing my canceled lightning talk, and it's going to be spread out. As I said, I'm the MC at the comedy club. The amount of time. Amount of time to reproduce. Oh, and I'm out of time. All right, what's another metric, Anna?
How many people do you need for your testing, and how many people were participating?
Number of people testing. Number of
And why do you need so many?
people testing. Actually, I'm going to move this up. Actually, I'm just going to, if I do that, I think this will work. Yeah, there we go. Number of people testing and why so many. Oh, I love that one. Equipment usage. Yeah, I slammed the crap out of that one at my last talk. Anyway, equipment usage.
Hours per crash in the field.
Hours between crashes in the field? Okay. That's slightly different to hours per crash. Oh, it crashed. It was down for 3 weeks.
Well, that would be another metric.
Yeah. Hours between crashes. Anything from the field is really hard to make fun of because you can't fudge it. Like, it's really hard. Anyway, hours between crashes in the lab. Anyway, in the field. Hours between crashes in the field. You just spoke and I didn't understand a word you said. Spotlight gunship is what I heard.
That would work too. Every tester does red, yellow, green, happy, neutral, sad.
You guys, see, I am in the wrong room for people coming up with bad metrics. I mean, what metric? Oh, except, of course, for the people from Calgary. So, yeah, sorry, yeah, you can't, oh, well, that's fine. There'll be ones that I'll say, I'm not making fun of this one. I like this metric. Like, I like that metric. The stoplight, I'm just going to put stoplight. I don't care what you're measuring with a stoplight. It doesn't have a number. Let's hear some more bad ones from Calgary. Percentage behind plan. Where do you work? And oh, time's up. Oh wait, but I don't have. I'm a talk ahead, right? Percentage behind plan. No, we don't have breaks in this room. If you want a break, you just leave. I'm doing one. I'm not allowed to do one? I'm filling in because Selena didn't show.
Uh-oh, the audience is revolting.
They are. Some more so than others. Anyway, how about this one? Number of automated test case or percentage of automation? Yes. Those are great. Any ones I come up with are going to be really good ones. Wait a second, or I got to write these down, or percentage of automation or automated auto. This one is actually one that my VP said our goal is 100% test automation.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, baby.
I left the mindset.
Yeah, automated TCs. Yeah, why 100? Yes, Calgary.
Anticipated number of test steps.
Seriously? And anticipated number of test steps. These are like worse than the worst ones I've ever heard of. I don't even have to. Okay, does anybody need me to make fun of that one? Wow. Do I have to write that one number? Did you? And you won his paycheck? He wouldn't pay. I didn't think so. Okay. Number of estimated test steps. Wow. That is quite possibly the worst metric I've ever heard of. Are you Reg?
No, I am.
I'm sorry, Reg. Okay. I just wanted to make sure the next speaker was here because Selena DeLessie didn't show up.
She was in another talk.
Oh, was she? I take it back for slamming Selena. She was apparently in another talk.
And I'm from Calgary, so be careful.
Oh, nice. And Reg is from Calgary. So do you have any horrible metrics? I'm from Ottawa, And we have bad metrics too. Hold on, let me look at my from the last time I actually did this with a non-context driven audience. Number of test cases per day we have on the previous sheet. Number of bug reports per tester. Did I write that one down yet? I did? Okay. Oh yeah, number of yeah, I did.
On Twitter is number of games of solitaire I can play before the automation completes.
Number of games of solitaire I can complete before automation finishes. I can't even write that down. Auto finishes. That's just a scrawl. I won't even know what that means later, but that's fine.
Time and triage for a bug.
I think we have that one. Yeah, I was on the preview. Yeah, I think we got that one. Yes, Calgary. Nancy Kell.
Percentage of time the offshore team spent testing against the amount of time the onshore team has spent.
You are making these up. Right now, you are making these. The percentage of time the offshore team has spent testing compared to the amount of hours the offshore team. Oh, it's percentage. So if we've done onshore 50% of the testing and the offshore team's done 50%, that's what they report.
Yes. Every day, every night.
And how do they count this? By the number of test steps?
The number of test steps.
By the number of test steps. Wow. And you work at this place? I'm not going to say, but I know where you work. Wow. Wow. Anyway,
We used to. Don't anymore.
oh, well, if you don't anymore, then I can just say where you work. No, you can't. The safety zone's being removed. Oh, Jesus. How do I write that down? Percentage of test steps offshore versus onshore. All right, let me just check. Oh, wait, cancel.
The bugs in production per number of releases.
The ratio of bugs
Ratio of
to number of releases.
ratio of bugs in production. Anything with production is really hard to make fun of, but a ratio of bugs in production versus number of releases. Uh-oh, I'm up to open season. I haven't finished making fun of these yet.
Critical bugs per tester as proportion of time spent testing up there someplace?
Oh, no. Proportion. This is a good one. I like this one.
No, it's critical bugs per tester.
Yeah. No, not proportion of, just critical bugs per tester. Critical bugs.
As proportion of time spent testing.
Critical bugs per tester. Anything per tester is a bad metric. Anyway, per tester. As proportioned of time spent testing. Fantastic. That is absolutely atrocious. All right, I have a number of bugs per kill line of code, but that one's kind of boring.
Number of bugs someone else found in my area.
In your test area? Oh, so like when you're finished your testing and it moves off? Wow. All right. Number of defects. Well, is that others internally though, right? Not a test escape to the field or. Well, the one to the field is almost worthwhile. The one internally is just pitting people up against each other. Yeah. Anyway, number of defects. I'll just say escaped, internal and external. Internal bad, external good. All right. Well, by good I mean not horrible. All right. I'm just double checking my list here from the last one. Automation I got. Lab utilization efficiency. Hi, Calgary. I'll get with you in a second. Number of bugs per person. Number of bugs from field. We got that one. And the pass rate. Okay, I got all those. Okay, go ahead.
Estimated number of bugs that will be found next.
That was estimated of number of bugs that will be found next week. Not the week after. And so if you reach that number on Wednesday, do you get to take Thursday and Friday off?
Just readjust the number for next week.
Oh, you don't even get credit.
You hold them.
Wow. Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to write this one down. Number of bugs estimated to be found next week. All right. All right, at the next break, I'll slam these next week, especially the ones from Calgary. All right, so metrics, bad metrics. A large percentage of metrics are horrible. Hopefully, those of you who weren't in the room when we came up with these will see any of the bad metrics you have to report up here. Number of test cases executed. Why is that a stupid metric? Any ideas? What's a test case? This test case takes 1 hour to run. This test case takes 5 days to run. Most people don't have 5-day test cases, but you get the idea. The total number of test cases per feature. Counting test cases is stupid in any context that I have come across. So, don't want to be slammed for never say never.
Let's start trying to put risk against them.
What?
Trying to put risk against the.
If you're counting test cases, it's the wrong thing to be doing. Oh, putting risk against, like, these are our high-risk test cases? I have no problem with that. Yeah, we do that all the time, yeah. And I do that, well, if you saw my little Kanban board, we put the higher priority, the higher risk ones at the top. And, yeah. But anyway, anytime you're counting test cases, it's bad because test cases aren't equal. So what I complained about this to my previous boss, this was 6 years ago, and I said, because he wanted every tester should be executing 2 test cases a day. And I said to him, but the one that Keith executed, he just finished and it took him 3 days. And he goes, well, it's an average. And he said, and it works, and the problem was it actually worked out for him for like 3 releases in a row, that it worked out that almost exactly each tester on average did 10 test cases a week. So he just thought it was golden. And then he saw one guy had only done 1 test case in 2 weeks. And so he calls me, and it was Keith. Keith has only done 1 test case in the last 2 weeks. I'll go talk to him. I went and talked to him. He said, yeah, I ran 1 test case, but I've raised 3 critical bugs. Okay. I went back. He raised 3 critical bugs. Okay, good. And my boss wasn't mad. He just said, this is a discussion point. It stood out. And I said, okay, can we stop looking at them? Anyway. So number of test cases executed, any number of test cases. Number of bugs found. That's a little vague. Good? Bad? I don't know. It depends. If you're counting number of bugs found per tester or per feature or in any category, not good. If we had one product owner who, a quality guy who said, if I don't have time to tell this story. I'll tell this story in a minute. I'm done in 10 seconds. Number of bugs found in itself is really vague, and I can't make fun of it because it's too vague. In some contexts, it would be good and some bad. But if you're looking at things like number of bugs found per tester, and the story that I was going to start to tell when I actually didn't have time to start, was we had one quality prime, I guess, who sent out an email from everybody from the tester, lowly tester, to the VP, saying, we have too many duplicates and rejected bugs. And it's costing us too much. 40% of our bugs are duplicates or rejected. Be more careful. And he said, the guy was in the course. And I went, what? You actually sent that to the VP down to the testers? And he goes, yeah, because we have too many bad overhead bugs. They're just like garbage bugs. They're duplicates, and they should. And I said, but you sent it to the VP and down to the test. Yeah. So I said, there was 4 testers in this guy's group, and I said, so your testers are now petrified that they're going to be raising bugs that are duplicate or going to be rejected, so they're not going to be raising bugs. And he goes, no, that's not the behavior I was looking for. And I said, okay, hold on. And I asked the 4 testers, are you guys now scared to raise bugs? And all 4 of them went. Said, okay. So anytime you're counting number of bugs and you're comparing number of bugs that, hey, to Christopher raised 5 bugs this week, well, Ken, he only raised 1. Ken sucks. Exactly. You don't want to compare that. Number of bugs found per feature. it can be interesting, but as soon as you do anything with the metric, it's no longer interesting. It's actually has a negative impact because it causes I'm better than you are type feelings. And anytime you're comparing internally numbers against either people or against features or scrum teams or whatever, you're going to get animosity, and that is almost always a bad thing. Percentage pass fail it's right here, pass rate, and I'm going to slam that one really soon. Number of important bugs. I don't even know what that means. What was that one? Who raised that one? No one remembers. Well, it's just bad then. What? Oh, and what was it, Ryan? Number of important bugs was what? Number of critical, like number of showstoppers? And is that number of showstoppers open before you're looking to ship, or number of criticals found by somebody? Like, it's just number. Oh, yes, my favorite, the stopping criteria. I didn't write that one down. So for us to ship, we need, and we still need this, it's my favorite, 0 criticals, no more than 10 majors, and no more than 30 minors. What a stupid, why 10? The hoops we jumped, I can understand 0 criticals. That really makes sense to me. If we know there's a critical bug, yeah, you don't want to ship the product. That makes sense. Can't have more than 10 majors. Seriously? 10. Some guy 4 years ago picked 10 as the number, and now we kill ourselves to get down to 10. So if we have 11, we can't ship? No, we can't ship. We have 11. Or we have to do a whole bunch of paperwork because we have 11. Can we just flip it to minor? Well, yeah, we do that a lot. How is this instigating good behavior? It doesn't. It causes a huge pile of junk being swept under the carpet every time. It's dumb. It's annoying. I hate that metric. The next one, and I'm going to skip one, a number of bugs found in the field, awesome metric, can't do anything about it. You can't fudge that one. The customer finds a bug and they phone you up. It's not, oh yeah, they didn't really find that bug. Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can totally fudge that. I mean, is it one issue, or is it one issue impacting a bunch of customers?
Oh, yeah. You
issue, or is it a
yeah, okay. It is, I guess it is. Well, we let our customers assign the severity. So they could lie, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. You can fudge it. But it's still good because it's not an internal competition. Anyway, my beeper beeped. Pass rate. We're up to pass rate is what we're up to. By pass rate, we mean you're looking for a minimum pass rate, or you're looking at the pass rate like it means something. We're at a 90% pass rate. Woo! 90%! That's an A+. Or an A-. Is it? Wow, you guys are tough up here. In Canada, 80 is an A-, 85 is an A, and anything over 90 is an A+. But our courses are harder. Anyway, pass rate is completely out of context to look at it as a pass rate. You can have a test that fails because a very, very minor thing happens and it causes a bunch of tests to fail. It could be, well, I'm not even going to put any suggestions to your mind because it depends on your context. What causes test failures in my world would not cause test failures in your world because no one here tests DSL switches. But the point is that if you're looking at your pass rate as a meaningful number, does a 95% pass rate mean that you can, because in addition to my work, in addition to having 0, 10, 30 for critical major, we need a 95% pass rate. For the last 3 releases in a row, I've made sure that my pass rate from my team is lower than 95% so that I have to talk at the release meeting because they go blah, blah, blah. Oh, physical error. Why aren't you at 95%? So I stand up and I get to tell my testing story. And they say, oh, okay, thank you. Otherwise, I'm just oh, you're good. You're at 95%, which is a completely stupid metric. If I have a 99.9% pass rate, but the one test that fails causes the machine to burst into flames or to erase the database or to electrocute somebody who plugs in there, I'm done. But you could have a 60% pass rate and all of the faults are... There was one other, and it was shockingly from Nancy. Calgary Nancy, who had another metric for us. Ooh, sorry, I just whacked the mic. I apologize to everyone who just got the mic whacked. Number of defects not linked to a test case. I would just like to say that wherever Nancy works, I would never work there. All right. All right. I have a very... There's no point in beeping that. Ooh. Sorry, there'll be a brief pause while I try to figure out how my watch works. All right. Number of test cases not linked to... Number of this makes a lot more sense. Number of test cases not linked to a defect. Those are the bad test cases because they don't find any bugs. Number of defects not linked to a test case. And she says that's used to track test cases that need to be developed. Which, yeah, the underlying rationale is good. Using it as a metric is asinine. But, I mean, seriously, you look at a defect and you say, oh, wow, why didn't we find that defect? Do we need some test coverage that would have found that defect? Yes, no, I'm done. Why do you need to count it? Anyway. All right. Oh, by the way, if anybody disagrees with the metric I'm slamming or how I'm slamming them, by all means, I don't care. Just kidding. I fully welcome your talks, your comments. Wow, look at that. I got... Oh, that's right, because I... Uh-oh. Yes, David.
Do I have to come to the microphone?
Yes.
David Gilbert, ladies and gentlemen. But he's at the way at the back of the room. Those of you watching on the internet, it's a good 30 feet away. Here he is.
Excuse me, you're between me and the microphone. So here's the question. Okay, you don't have to count them, right? But the defects either are or are not connected to a test case, correct? So
Yep.
there are only two groups. So
Yeah.
do you have a problem doing a simple pie chart that says, here are the ones that we found that were connected to a test case, and here are the ones we found that weren't? Last year, 50% of our defects were not connected to a test case. This year, only 20%. So we're doing better test coverage. Is that a valid use?
Or you're...
Without using numbers, just looking at the picture?
It could be, but it depends on that doesn't take into account the type of testing that you did and how you came up with these defects. If the defects are just because they were reported from the field and you're looking at test escapes, or you're looking at completely ad hoc testing that you can't even put back to a charter or any type of exploratory testing that would be deemed justifiable, if you just sit down and start pounding on the keyboard and you go, ha, I found a bug. Okay, that would be one that's not linked to a test case. But anyway, sort of, but no. All right. Good. Okay, so number of bugs found, too vague. I'm putting an X with that one. Number of bugs found by tester, that one's absolutely atrocious. And somebody online must have joined after. But yeah, number of bugs found per tester is really bad. Creates animosity amongst testers. And if I'm testing a stable feature, and meanwhile Gary's testing a piece of crap feature, he finds way more bugs than me. Why does he get the raise? Anyway, sorry, personal. Number of important bugs, that one's awesome. That we already covered that one. Number of bugs found in the field, I'm actually not even going to put an X because that one I kind of like. Pass rate is horrible, and that's where I got to. Number of tests to be executed. Again, this one falls up here. Any number of tests, I've already covered, but anything that's a number of tests, you can't count because they're not equal. You can count them, but it's like multiplying two orthogonal values. Oh, this one has a risk of 3 and a likelihood of happening of 6, so it's an 18. You can't multiply numbers that it just doesn't work that way. And anytime you're counting test cases and you're actually plotting them, you can't do that. It doesn't make sense at all. How many people have had this? And I was talking with three lovely ladies from Verizon Wireless. I shouldn't have said that. From a North American mobile phone company. And they said, no, we don't count test cases. I said, well, that's great. But have you ever had somebody say, which you're working on a feature, say, oh, yeah, we have 12 test cases that's going to cover that feature. Oh, that's not enough. And they all went, yeah. Said this, so you're counting test cases. Anyway. I had one story. We had a guy, we had just taken over testing from Raleigh. Raleigh had a whole bunch of small automated test cases that they executed. And we were shying away from that. And our test lead came up with 6 test cases as our system test plan. Just 6 test cases. And so we had to review because it was our first release doing it without Rally. And he phoned them up and they were talking and they said, well, how many test cases are going to be executed? He said 6. And they were, 6? We had 10,000. You can't just do 6. He said, all right, well, here, we'll call a meeting, and I'll send you my 6 test cases. At the end of the 2-hour or 3-hour-long meeting, everybody agreed that his 6 test cases had a more thorough coverage than the 10,000 test cases the Rally team had. Thus, counting test cases is asinine. Anyway, number of tests to be executed. Again, that's a number of test cases. So number of open bugs. That one is interesting as long as it's combined with coverage. You need to, and actually that goes to the massive list of coverage ones that Keith came up with, which I can't make fun of depending on how you come up with the numbers of coverage. But you need a way, okay, there's 3 metrics that I think you need to have. And that's probably a very important thing because I'm slamming all these other metrics. Everyone's, look at the notepads coming out. You need some sort of coverage metric. How you come up with that so it's valid is entirely up to you as long as it doesn't count test cases. You need a number of bugs found. Or open bugs or open issues. It doesn't have to be bugs. They could just be issues that you found. And then you need the expected coverage and where you are along your expected coverage. So that's kind of the 2 there. So at the end of the release, as you're going along, you can say, we have this sort of plan. And you can do the coverage the way James talked about in his keynote. You have the 1, 2, 3, 3+. That's perfect. That's my coverage. So in this feature area, I'm planning to do a 2. I'm currently at a 1. That's good information. I have roughly 2 days of testing to go before I'll be at a 2 or whatever. If you want to add time to it, you can. But and these are the open issues that we found so far. You can't argue with open issues. This is a real issue. I don't care if the severity of the issue can be important for sure, but the biggest thing, if you have a massive list, like at some point in our release, we had over 300 open fault reports. So it was kind of important to know how severe they were, because if they were all critical, we weren't going to be shipping. Turns out that 12 were, so it was a lot better that way. But the whole concept of you need your list of open reports, you need your coverage, and then you need how far you are along, what's your progress against that coverage. Okay, so those are what I think. If you disagree with me, I would actually be willing to talk to you or argue with you about it. Margaret disagrees with me. Fantastic. Because David disagreed and whispered to Margaret that he disagreed and didn't want to come up. I watched that happen. I was not blind. Come on, Margaret.
Well, David and I are in this debate right now. Not with each other, actually, though. We were agreeing.
Oh.
So I don't want to simply know the number of defects. I need to have some bugs. Sorry. I need to have some other. We use risk. So when you said not important bugs, we actually do make the team define important collectively.
No. Sorry, I understand how you misinterpreted what I said. I still think you need a list of bugs, and you need a list of the critical bugs, major bugs, minor bugs, and if you want, we have a category for limited bugs. We have thankfully stopped raising bug reports as a category for us because they were never fixed. But
which is what he was saying, because we actually have bugs that have been open for 5 years.
Yeah, that's
and
not. Yeah, who cares? Close them.
That was the point.
Yes. Anyway, and then so you have you definitely want to characterize your bugs because it's important. And something else that's important isn't just the severity of the bug, like how bad it is. If I do this, my database gets erased and there's no workaround. Okay, that's obviously critical. But if I do this one thing, it's just really, really inconvenient, and our customers are going to bitch about it, but it doesn't stop them from making money or deploying. It would be a minor bug, but we still have it as a gating bug. So we have a category of, is it gating the release? We can have minor bugs by the definition of our minor. Critical is service impacting, stops our customers from making money, no workaround. Major, service impacting, will cost our customers money, but there's a viable workaround. And then minor is not service impacting, won't cost our customers money, and so it doesn't really matter if there's a workaround or not. But we have minor bugs that are gating, so we count gating bugs too. But anyway, so those are the metrics that I think are good, and anything else is almost always bad. So, number of open bugs, I just talked about that. Number of test steps. Does anybody need me to say how bad this metric is? Thank God. Okay. Number of hours testing. It could be useful, actually. That one.
It was equated to budget when it was brought up.
Right, and actually, I'm actually thinking I don't do it by hours, but I do it by, well, those of you who saw my talk, the morning and afternoon is stickies, and those are roughly. Pardon? It's an effort measure, and so I don't do it by hour, but I do it by a half day of work. So I can't say I don't do this. I actually do this one. So good metric. I do it. Code coverage. It depends on how and where you measure this as to its usefulness. Measuring code coverage at a system test level can be invasive to the point that you're not actually testing what you think you're testing, because it's invasive at a unit test level. It's phenomenally useful, and it can be useful higher up, but it depends. I work in embedded systems, so it becomes very not useful because it sucks up all the resources. We do use it, though, for bug investigation. Requirements coverage, scenario coverage, again, those are all coverage, and if that's how you're deciding to do your coverage measurements, then that's fine. But I'm actually not going to slam coverage metrics at this point. The amount of time to reproduce a bug from the field. That one isn't so much, in my opinion, a testing metric. That's more of a customer support metric, where your customer support team gets the phone call, and you go, uh-oh, and you have to try to reproduce it in a certain amount of time. If you want to count that metric, that's great, but it's not really a testing metric, so I'm going to ignore it. The number of people that are testing and why do you need so many? I can see that's being valid, but that would go back to the effort and the number of hours, and I guess the less efficient your testers are, the more testers you'd need to do the same amount of work. I don't know. I haven't actually ever come across this as something that you would chart or put in a pie chart or anything. I definitely would say, hey, for us to be able to finish by this date, we're going to need another tester or two, and you have to identify that early enough in the project. Otherwise, adding people to a project too late actually makes you go later. Somebody came up with that, and it's true. What? Who? Brooks? There you go. Brooks came up with that. I hate taking other people's things and stealing them, so there we go. Equipment usage. I had that down as my lab equipment usage. We actually, at Alcatel-Lucent, somebody else said this. I think it was Ryan. We had one team that was actually measured. One of their key performance indexes was how well they use their lab equipment. And same with Ryan, nice. And so why that ended up being a really bad metric, if your lab equipment is in use all the time, there is no way that you can, I shouldn't say there's no way, it's a lot harder to just go and say, oh my God, this is something really critical, we need to do this right away. So you actually have to interrupt a test because you're continuously trying to do tests. So what this one group did at my place of work, they continuously run a bogus test, so that there's at least one or two setups dedicated to doing absolutely nothing in a way that fools the system that tracks how much of the equipment is being used. So it's always in use, and when they want to go and see, so as it goes back to why are metrics bad? Bad metrics cause bad behavior. And they almost never, the intention of this, instead of just saying, guys, we need to make sure we're using our lab equipment as efficiently as possible. If we have a team in Bangalore who can remotely log into our system, let's make sure it's available to them so that they can use it 9 hours. That's great. No problem with that. But if you start saying you're going to be measured on that, people start writing scripts. People find ways to waste more time to get around the metric and the behavior that comes out is the absolute wrong behavior. Hours between crashes in the field. I love that metric. That's great. The stoplights. Anytime you're using non-numbers and you're using like 1, 2, 3, 3 plus like James does, or red, yellow, green, you can use your coverage. How are we doing for coverage on this? We're green on this one. We're red on this one. We're yellow. So I love stoplights. Percent behind plan. I slammed the crap out of this metric at one customer because they said that they had to come up with their plan in advance of all their testing, and I equated it to what I used to have to do, which was I used to have to predict for a 13-week test cycle. I was standing beside James when he said anything longer than a 3-week test cycle. I've never heard of longer than a 3-day test cycle. I mean, I got a 13-week test cycle every release. What are you going on about? But I had to predict at the beginning of that 13-week test cycle what the execution rate was going to be for the whole thing. And so the first time I did it, I said, I'll just do it linearly. And of course, so here I did my plan. This was my plan. And of course, the actual one did this. And I continuously, from this date, got emails, you're behind plan, you're behind plan, you're behind plan. For 13 weeks, I got emails saying I was behind plan. So the next time, and I got this from another manager who'd been on the team for about a year longer than me, I did this. Oh, hold on, I'll use a different color. The best plan ever. Guess what? No emails, no complaints, nobody even asked. It was fantastic. Again, if you're measured on stuff like this, it causes bad behavior. Welcome back, Nancy Kelm from Calgary, who came up with the worst metrics on the board so far. And they're real. Percent of, or number or percent of automated test cases. I already mentioned this. I had a VP saying our goal is 100% test automation in my group. I was so pissed off. Yes?
I had a VP, I was on a team where VP asked us for 102% automation.
Okay, a guy from Microsoft was on a team. Was that at Microsoft?
Yes,
Unfortunately, it wasn't Microsoft. Oh, another guy from Microsoft is holding up a card.
Our page says 100% of all the test cases that should be automated are automated.
Well, I have no problem with that. 100% of test cases that should be automated are automated. That's fantastic. I love that. And as long as that number is pretty low, that's good. But sorry, those of you at home, a guy at Microsoft, a VP of Microsoft, said he wanted 102% of test cases to be automated. 110, that's even worse, because, anyway. Again, you're counting test cases. So I actually spoke with this VP, and I said, do you realize that you're causing a huge amount of wasted effort because people are trying to automate stuff that doesn't make sense to automate? It's going to take them a day to do it manually, and it's taking them like a month to automate that test. And he says, well, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to have them automate as much as they can. But that's not what you told them. Anyway. Number of estimated test steps. That falls into the from Nancy category that I'm not even going to bother talking about. And she's smiling. Number of games of solitaire before the automation is finished. That is an excellent metric. I'm seriously, if depending on where you are in the test cycle, if you're at the unit test level and you can get more than one game of solitaire in before your automation is finished, your automation is too long. If you're at the feature test level, I'd say probably anywhere, depending on the complexity of your product, between 5 and 10 games of solitaire would probably be good. And at the system test level, you're probably looking at, I would say a good 30 to 40 games of, anyway. I'm kidding. This is a spiral test, anyway. And if you want this spiral test, it actually, I wanted to add to this, it's kind of like a spoke and wheel as opposed to the spiral, but then you're not in. If you missed Thomas's talk to him about it. It was really cool. Is this the last one, I hope? Because I'm way over time. Okay, number of test steps offshore versus onshore. Awesome. That, I can't say anything bad about that because I would probably vomit if I had to comment on that. Who had that one? Was that you again? Yeah. Nancy from Calgary. That, oh God. Anyway. What? No, seriously, I don't even know what to say about that one.
They don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore because the person who came up with this died of some bizarre brain tumor. Ratio of bugs in production versus number of releases. It's in production, so okay, I guess. I don't know why. It shows you how bad you are at fixing bugs that have been released.
Well, it's the opposite actually. It's used for the upper management. Somehow that we presenting it as, look, we got more releases and less bugs in production. So I assume that if we have, with less people.
I see. So it's okay. Less people and more releases and fewer bugs in the field. That's the good. So if you get rid of everybody, you're going to be perfect. Yep. You won't have any more bugs. Critical bugs per tester as a proportion of time spent per tester. Again, anytime you're looking at a per tester measurement or a per feature measurement, if you're going to use that, it's going to cause animosity, because if I get put on a crappy feature and I find 8 critical bugs, and this time Gary's on the good feature and he finds none, you suck. Yeah, anyway, it's, yeah, dumb. Number of defects escaped, internal versus external. Internally, don't like it. Externally, okay. If it's an external, well, actually, either one. Any test escape you have, internally or externally, can be useful, because it might make you think, or it should make you think about how you need to change how you're testing. And if it's going to improve your coverage and improve how you test, that's a good thing. If you start measuring it and rating people on it, it becomes a bad metric, because you get people doing stupid things so that the metric looks better for them. Number of bugs. The number of bugs estimated to be found next week, 0, because I'm not coming to work. That is atrocious. To Christopher.
To be fair, we teach people to do this in the books.
No, we don't. Some books teach people to do this. Those books should be burned. Fahrenheit 451, let's go. Number of defects linked. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that one. All right, that's it. Does anyone have any comments? Yes. A lot of people have comments, but it's almost time for beer. Go ahead, Liz.
So, I hear that you're supposed to use, from managers, that these metrics are so they know how to review and stack rank everyone and hand out promotions and raises.
Go away. Okay, just stop it. I have an experience report on this. I was asked by my manager, my director. Wow. I was asked by my director, how would you rank your people on your team? I thought, oh, layoffs are coming. I gave him the ranking, yay, good, bad. And he said, well, how'd you come up with this list? I said, I watch them, I interact with them, I talk with them, I look at their work, I do code reviews with, there was an automation team at the time, I do code reviews with them, I see how well they code, I see what their tests look like, I understand what they're doing, and this guy's the best at it, and this guy's the worst at it. That's not good enough. Yeah, and he said, oh no, you need metrics. What? He says, it's the only way it'll stand up in court. I went, no, it isn't. And he says, no, you need metrics. So I wasted some poor high school student's two months of his life, come up with this thing that crawled through RCS and pulled out number of lines churned, number of lines created, number of line comments. And I plotted it all, and it made no sense to me. And I went, whoa, this doesn't make any sense. And then, oh, these two guys are working on a new feature. That's why they've written more code than everybody else. These two guys are adding features or complexity to a feature. These two guys are doing bug reports, and this guy is just off doing execution, so he's only done... It made no sense. So I actually came up with one metric out of this whole thing. It was a number of comments that they made. The best guy put in more comments he did 27 comments per 100 lines of code, and the worst guy did 21. And I thought, that is super, and it was linear. It was literally linear, top to bottom, bang, bang, bang. I thought, this is the best, most fantastic metric that I've ever come up with that I can't tell anybody, because the first second that I tell anybody, the guy who's horrible is going to start putting 50 comments per 100 lines of code. I win. Anyway, so I presented all this to my boss, and I said, here you go. Is this what you're looking for? Oh, it's not for me. It was for you. I don't work for him anymore. He doesn't work at my company anymore. He was not a good boss. You want to know his name? No, I'm just kidding. All right. Anybody else have any comments? Not on what Liz said, because that was evil, but on the evil things I said. No? Thank you very much. And thanks to all the Lightning Talk speakers.